What is up, everybody? Welcome into this Thursday episode of Flippin Bats. We got a great one for you today. The NFL isn't the only one drafting today because we're picking our own dream teams. J-Rod, Shohei, Juan Soto. Who will be the first player taken? Alex is officially on the clock. Also, Fernando Tatis Jr. was dancing in the outfield at Wrigley while getting heckled by the outfield bleachers. Close your eyes if you hate fun, because it's all coming at you.
It's a blowout. 8th inning, 10-3. Bases are loaded for Verlander, who waits on a 3-0 pitch. He swings, and it's a high fly ball. Deep center field. It is gone. Home run. And a huge bat flip to celebrate. All right, Ben, start the show already.
What is up, my friends? Thursday episodes are always fun. It's always a blast. Today's a little bit different. We got the NFL draft going on today. So, as I mentioned, Alex will be doing our own draft, our own dream team, as if we're starting a team from scratch. That's going to be fun. We got the BVPs today, top 5 update on the MVP if both leagues were combined. This is going to be a blast.
I love draft days in any sport across all the leagues because this is the day where dreams come true, right? You can kind of feel it in the air. It's a fun, magical time for so many people and athletes and families who have spent their entire lives going towards this one goal. So, okay, obviously we're going to do our own dream team MLB draft, but because it is the NFL draft day, who do you have going first overall? You got Carolina Panthers, who traded up. They got it from Chicago, got the first pick.
The Bears. First off, this is just a side tangent I didn't think I was going to go on. The fact that the Texans won their last game the way they did and didn't end up getting the first pick.
They got the second pick.
I know. I don't know. I know the odds-on favorite, but
No, go with your gut. Go with your gut.
I mean, the odds tell you what's going to
Well, I'm picking Bryce Young from Alabama going first overall. Who do you think's going to go?
I will just say Levis.
You think it's the Kentucky quarterback?
I think there's a chance.
Okay.
That's all I'll say.
I'm going to say I think he's going to go higher than most people think. I am going to say, though, I think the over on 3.5 quarterbacks in the first round is what you should take.
Wow.
I get all of my info from Cynthia Freeland. She's the analytics expert at NFL Network. Shout out to you, Cynthia. She is like... I'm like, give me everything I need. Give it to me all.
It's a big day.
It's a big day.
So we'll do our draft. Also, it's been a big week so far. Alex, as you know, my power rankings come out on Monday.
Yep.
And man, the power rankings were a point of contingency for people because the Astros got quite the bump this week from me. And people were not happy that the Astros were 2 and 1 that they were behind the Rangers who were at like 7 or 8. And I must say, the Astros beat the best team in baseball in a series.
You did good.
The Rangers, I don't love this, but the Rangers got swept by the Reds. So, but that was a big series. Astros, Rays. In the last 2 games of the series, the Astros shut them out. The best offense in baseball. Good series. Astros are rolling.
Yeah, I mean, it's always, it's a great game when you win by 1 run.
Yeah.
1-0 win for the rubber match. So that was big for the Astros.
As we get into our draft.
Yes.
So as we mentioned, NFL Draft Day, Alex and I are going to start our own draft of MLB players as if we are starting a franchise and starting it from scratch and building for the future. That is what we are going to do. So, Alex, it is Draft Day. Do you have a team name? I'm going with Benny Bat Flips. The Benny Bat Flips.
What?
I just thought of this.
Why didn't you tell me this?
I
didn't
just
even
thought of
think about it.
Let's go. Alex, you are on the clock. It is draft day. We are drafting our dream team. So, Alex, first overall pick, you are on the clock.
This is a no-brainer. With the first overall pick, I select Shohei Ohtani. He is the future of baseball. He has changed the game forever. And if I am building a team around one single player, how can you not go with Shohei Ohtani? He is dominant on the mound. He is in the Cy Young conversation and probably top 1, 2 at this point in the season. He has had an MVP caliber season the last 3 years. just blasted his 6th home run last night. He's 3-0 in 5 starts with a 0.64 ERA, 38 strikeouts in 28 innings pitched. I mean, we can go on and on about the unicorn and incredible baseball player that Shohei Ohtani is. So, yeah, he is my first overall pick.
All right. I like it. With my first overall draft pick, drafting to Ben's bat flips.
Okay. Buddy Ben.
I'm going with Julio Rodriguez. Give me the face of my team for the next 2 decades. This guy is quickly becoming already the face of baseball, one of the faces of baseball. Last year, there's an argument that he had the best rookie season of all time. Julio led major leaguers last year, led rookies in home runs, WAR, OPS, total bases, and the last 5 rookies to lead in all of those categories won Rookie of the Year. Mike Trout, Jose Abreu, Chris Bryant, Aaron Judge, Pete Alonso. And Alex, you might say, that's pretty good territory. Let me do you one better.
Okay.
Julio is one of 4 rookies aged 21 or younger with a 6+ WAR and a 145 OPS plus season in MLB history, joining, listen to this company, Ted Williams, Albert Pujols, and Mike Trout. Julio Rodriguez is the future of this sport. I believe he is the future face of baseball. He is the face of my franchise for the next 2 decades because he's only 22 years old. So though you have the best player in baseball right now, you get him for maybe 10 years. I'll have Julio for 2 decades.
Okay.
This guy had last year arguably the greatest rookie season of all time, doing things that have never been done. 25 homers and 25 stolen bases has never, ever been done in a debut season. He is the perfect face for my franchise. He is the perfect face for the current game of baseball, and I love having him as my number 1 overall draft pick. Julio Rodriguez, the J-Rod Show.
All right.
All right, Alex, you're back on the clock.
Yep. With my second pick, I select Randy Arozarena.
Woo!
I know. I became a huge Randy fan just in the last year. He's obviously the 2021 Rookie of the Year. Just exploded, I think, into everybody's hearts at the World Baseball Classic. But what I love about Randy is he feels like a culture guy. He sets the tone. He's having fun while he plays. He is the full package. And I just think he's a great player who has the kind of swag that can bring a team together and you can rally around a leader like Randy.
All right, I like it. Let's go on to my pick number 2 and joining Team Benny Bat Flips. Ronald Acuna Jr. Give me Ronnie, baby. In his second full season, he almost became the 5th player ever to go 40-40 home runs, 40 stolen bases. I wholeheartedly believe that at some point in his career, he will go 40-40. Let's just think about Ronald's career for a quick second. Year number 1, 2018, Rookie of the Year. Year number 2, 2019, ends up 5th in the MVP voting and hits 42 homers and steals 37 bases. So 3 stolen bases away from going 40-40 in his second season. Then you have 2020, a COVID year. Then you have 2021, the year he gets injured. Unfortunately, he was an all-star, having a great year, on pace to be right on track for about 40-40. Then he comes back, right? Freakishly fast last year, but not himself. This year, we're seeing Ronald Acuna hit around 350. Home runs already are right on track to be what they have been his whole career. This is honestly, if you think about it, the 3rd full healthy season for Ronald Acuna, because I do not believe he was healthy last year. We are seeing that in his play this year. Ronald Acuna is an absolute star. I love Ronnie. I love watching how well he's playing this year, and I want him on my team. He's only 25 years old, and I love starting a team with Julio Rodriguez and Ronald Acuna Jr. That's number 2 for me. Alex,
right.
You're back on the clock.
I'm back on the clock.
3.
And with my 3rd pick, I'm selecting Adley Rutschman.
Yep.
Catcher for the Orioles. He's one of the top catchers in the game. right now, and he's only in his second major league season. Now, opening day, do you remember? He went 5 for 5 with a home run, the first player to do so on opening day since 1937. He's batting 278 with 4 home runs, 16 RBI right now. He is the future, and he is going to be the future of my team.
He's also, Alex, the future of Flippin Bats.
Ooh,
might I add.
Nice tease.
A little foreshadowing.
When's
here.
he coming?
Adley is coming on a future episode of Flippin
Yeah.
Bats. I think next Wednesday is when that will be. So keep an eye out for Adley, who I wholeheartedly agree is a huge part of the future of this sport. And for him to do what he's doing at the catcher position this year, where he's played in every game, is just mind-blowing. So that's your third pick. With the third overall pick for my team, I am taking Yordan Alvarez. Easy to forget how young Yordan still is, 25 years old and already breaking tons of record. He is the fastest Houston Astro in history to 100 home runs. He beat one of Ted Williams' most impressive record, which is most RBIs in the first 45 games of a major league career. That record stood for 80 years. Yordan is doing what he's doing in not just the regular season. We saw him up close and personal last year, Alex, in the World Series. The hit that essentially won the Astros the World Series against Minter and the Braves. He's clutch. He does it all. He's young. He's one of, if not the best hitter in baseball right now, and still super young. I want him on my team. So I'm going with Yordan Alvarez for my third pick. Julio, Ronald Acuna, Yordan Alvarez.
Love it.
On to round number 4.
Woo-hoo!
Alex, kick us off for the 4th round.
With my 4th pick, I select Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I'm bringing some more power to this lineup. He is just great on both sides of the ball. As I mentioned, I think a lot of the guys here that I've picked like to have fun. They like to have fun while they're playing, and Vladdy is one of those guys. He's the future, another future face of baseball, who's only 24 years old. He's already a 2-time All-Star, Gold Glove winner, Silver Slugger Award, Hank Aaron Award winner, and was the MLB home run leader in 2021. He was in that MVP battle and conversation. I love the way he plays, and I love having him on my team.
It's a good power threat right there in the middle of your lineup for a long time. And with my 4th pick and the 8th overall pick in the Flippin' Bats draft, I'm going to take Juan Soto. Now, let me just start by saying Juan Soto, before last year, was on pace to do things that have never been done before, and he still is. Let's not forget that Juan Soto is 24 years old. But we were talking heading into last season about Juan Soto at 23 years old being the best hitter in baseball, and talking about him potentially being what would go down as one of the greatest of all time hitters. Now, last year was a bit of a struggle, which is why I believe Juan Soto fell to 8th in this draft. If it wasn't for last year and the start to this year, I believe Juan Soto is going probably 1st or 2nd. If Shohei's going 1st, Juan Soto's right there, right after that. But a bit of a slow last year. But Juan Soto has broken already in his career. Again, he's 24 years old. There's plenty of players that Aaron Judge hadn't even debuted at that point at 24 years old. Juan Soto has had a very established big league career already. So the first few years of his career, he was one of the best hitters in baseball. Broke Ted Williams' record for most walks by a player under the age of 24, which might not sound like the most exciting thing in the world, but it goes to show you the plate discipline this guy has, and it all starts there. And before last season, again, we were saying he's the best hitter in baseball. Has it gone away that quickly? No. It's in there for Juan Soto. He's 24. He'll be fine. He needs to figure out this pitch clock and how to handle the mental warfare back and forth with the pitcher. He's struggling right now, but this guy is going to be a stud in the league for a long, long time to come, and I am pleased that he fell to me with the 8th overall pick in the draft. Give me Juan Soto. So that's through 4 rounds.
Yeah. Our final round.
We're doing 5.
We are.
So the 5th and final round of the draft. Alex, kick us off.
Well, with my final pick, a teammate of your last pick, also a young star, Fernando Tatis Jr. is my 5th overall pick. He's back, baby, okay? I am under the impression and belief that he had learned his lesson. He has done his time. He's not letting the heckling get to him this year. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. But once he gets settled in, he has all the potential to be great. And we're slowly seeing that in his first week back in the big leagues. And just a little reminder of how great he was his last full healthy season in 2021. He was in that MVP conversation. He led the National League in home runs. He was 5th in all of Major League Baseball and 2nd in slugging. He's great at what he does on both sides of the ball, on defense, at the plate. He has fun while he's playing. And I think he is going to be a great addition to my team.
Yeah, just thinking about this, like, the reason he was able to go, like, let's be honest, if it weren't for a suspension and his career kept going on the track it was, he would have been a 1st or 2nd rounder. But because the guy got injured and was suspended, I mean, he's still the same baseball player.
Yep.
So, good pick.
Thanks.
On to my 5th and the final pick of our draft. I am going with a pitcher, Spencer Strider, 24 years old. There's not a player on my team older than 25 years old. Spencer Strider last year became the fastest pitcher to 200 strikeouts in a season, beating Randy Johnson's prior record. Now, Spencer Strider didn't even pitch all last year, wasn't a starting pitcher all last year, came up at a certain point and still broke this record. And now this year, we're seeing him have an unbelievable start to the year. He is my choice for the NL Cy Young Award in his 2nd season. He's 24 years old. He's the perfect ace of my staff for a long, long time to come. He took a perfect game earlier this week, late into the game, a no-hitter into the 8th. I couldn't think of a better ace of my staff for a long time to come than Spencer Strider. And here's an interesting stat I saw on Spencer Strider, because we know the guy throws 100, he has nasty breaking stuff, but what makes Spencer Strider so nasty was an interesting thing that I saw. There are 2 MLB pitchers with 98+ mile-an-hour fastballs that have above average extension, below average release height, and an above average carry on their pitches. Jacob deGrom and Spencer Strider. That is it. Pretty good territory to be in with
Epic
something
company.
like that. So Spencer Strider, my pitcher, my ace of my staff, and that rounds out our draft, Alex. So I went Julio Rodriguez, Ronald Acuna, Yordan Alvarez, Juan Soto, and Spencer Strider. I like your team too.
Oh, I did great.
How do you feel?
Oh, I feel great. I was curious if you were going to take a pitcher because Ohtani, you get both. So I got that right off the top. And I'm also a little surprised. No Corbin Carroll, especially since you are the driver of the bandwagon.
I am the driver of the bandwagon. But who, like, you're right. I needed a pitcher. And who, like, Juan Soto, Yordan, Ronald Acuna, Julio. That just speaks volumes to the direction the league is going.
That's true.
Saying. But it was actually.
That's why I was like,
it was actually so difficult for me to not pick Corbin Carroll as the leader of the bandwagon. But he's in my top 10 for sure.
Okay.
I mean, so. But Alex, that does it for our Flippin Bats draft of our dream teams. Uh-oh. Close your eyes, everyone. Close your eyes if you hate fun, because we had some more action just the other day. Fernando Tatis dancing out in the outfield at Wrigley Field while the fans were heckling him. He was getting heckled all day long, and later in the game, I believe it was in the 5th inning, fans started chanting, "He's on steroids," and Fernando Tatis, in full Fernando Tatis fashion, just starts dancing. Just did a little dance, a little shindig, did the "I love you" sign to the fans, was just having fun with the fans out there. And this sent the world into an absolute frenzy. Why? The guy simply dancing in the outfield. What I would say to you is Fernando Tatis isn't currently on steroids. He wasn't doing steroids in the outfield. So why are people so mad at him for just dancing? Are you mad at him because he previously took steroids? Sure. Fine. But this has nothing to do with that. He's simply dancing. So people act like he should be hated forever because they've never done anything wrong in their lives.
He is 24 years old. You have
24.
to remember, he is a young kid. So when this happened, he was probably 23?
Yeah.
22, 23 when he got in trouble.
The injuries started happening at 22.
Yeah, so he was so young. Those are college years for most people. Do you want your college years to be publicized? Like, everybody has something like this. He did his time. It looks like he learned his lesson. And what do you want him to do, cry about it? No, he's having fun. This is exactly how you should be handling the situation. Like, okay, I'm going to get hate, but I'm just going to shake it. He was doing like the Taylor Swift shake it off.
This was him
before
the injuries.
I know.
Before the suspension. He was having fun. He'd hit homers. He'd dance around the bases. He'd engage with fans. Now, these fans were heckling him, but he doesn't care. And this isn't him like taunting the crowd. He was just having fun, dancing in the outfield. So this entire situation, everybody wanted to make about the steroids. Well, guess what? He's done his time. He made a mistake. It was a mistake. He was young, he was injured, and he took steroids to try and come back faster from his injury, which was a mistake, and I hate steroids, and I don't like that, but he's back. So my whole point here is exactly what you said. Everyone's out there heckling him or on social media saying, you're condoning cheating. No. He's not cheating. He's dancing. Is he cheating by dancing?
Like, what do you want him to do? Like, yell back at the crowd, flip him off? Like, there's so many other routes that could have been anger-driven routes he could have done. This is a happy, positive human who got a second chance. He's doing his best he can in his second chance, and he's having fun. This is what you want to see. It's exactly the way he should be handling it.
So, as I like to do, as we now keep doing these Close Your Eyes If You Hate Fun segments, let's bring in some tweets that I got because, I tweeted the situation saying, incredible, Tatis out there dancing in the outfield as he's getting heckled. He literally did the I love you sign to the fans like he was having fun with it all. And I said, close your eyes if you hate fun. So let's show some of these tweets that I got, Alex, because the world was up in a frenzy about this. But they went everywhere from, wow, condoning and cheering on a cheater. First off, no. Yeah. I'm not condoning the cheating. These are, we are adults. We can separate the situations of what he did a year ago and what he was doing in the outfield, where he was simply dancing. There were some that were simply just, you're an idiot. To which I respond, what?
Wait, okay.
Okay, where's that coming from? I mean, it was all over the place. I will say, I think the majority loved this.
Yeah.
Hands down, easy to say. The majority of people loved this. But there were the people that were there saying, and it was all the same. How can you condone this? You're cheering on a cheater, blah, blah, blah. No, this is cringe. It's cringe. Well, have you ever watched Fernando Tatis play baseball? This is him. Yeah. He has fun playing the game. He enjoys bantering with the crowd if they're giving him crap about it. So the entire situation I thought was funny. The responses are forever. It's just great.
I feel like those people need a hug. Do you need a hug? Are you okay? Are you so angry in your own life that you're getting mad at a 24-year-old who got a second chance and is doing great at a second chance, dancing off haters, yelling at him in the outfield? That is the best, kindest, probably most mature response he could have given. So way to go. Yeah. Fernando Tatis Jr.
I agree.
We'll dance with you.
Good for you guys.
Yeah.
And by the way, it'd be tough not to mention the irony of this situation is that it's happening in the outfield at Wrigley, where Sammy Sosa used to play, and we all know the whole thing there, which, again, it's just ironic, the whole situation and the tweets that came about from it. So, I love Tatis the player.
Yep.
You know, I've been very vocal about him being immature and needing to grow up, and that is specifically discussing the mistakes that he made off of the field. Riding a motorcycle, getting in an accident, taking the steroids to try and recover faster. And as you mentioned, Alex, all of these mistakes happened at 22, 23 years old. Okay? Put yourself in those shoes, and if you're saying you never made a mistake in your life or that you didn't deserve a second chance, well, look, he's back now. He's done his time, and he's back to being the player that we became accustomed to before. Good baseball player, has fun, is great for the game in terms of the energy that he plays with and all of that stuff. So close your eyes if you hate fun. Fernando Tatis is back, and he's going to be doing a lot of things like this. So let's move on, Alex, to something that we've been doing every Thursday.
Yeah.
My BVPs. So BVP, acronym for Ben's valuable players. Essentially, it's my most valuable players so far this year. If you combine the two leagues, so it's not an AL and an NL thing, it's top 5 players so far. So let's start at number 5.
Yeah, you got a lot of first-timers on the list this year.
I think 3 of the 5.
3 of the 5, starting with number 5, Mike Trout.
Yeah, I have a feeling Mike Trout's going to be on this list.
How'd it take him so long?
Yeah. Because there were some other players just going absolutely bonkers, and then you look at it, and Mike Trout, ho-hum, batting .311 on the year, 5 homers, 13 RBI, and an OPS right around 1,000, 993 OPS. Trout is off to a great start to the year. And by the way, obviously this is a season award, not a career thing.
Yeah.
Mike Trout's career WAR, we're talking about him being off to a great start, right? 311, 5 homers, 13 RBIs on the year, and that's good for a 993 OPS, which is high. In his career, Mike Trout now has a career OPS of 1,000. Just absolutely bonkers. Mike Trout is at number 5 on my list.
And number 4, off to a great start this season, also a first time on your list, Brandon Marsh.
Also a friend of ours. We
love
became
him.
good friends with Brandon Marsh.
We love Marsh.
During the playoffs and the NLCS and the World Series. And Brandon Marsh this year, I am so excited to see how well he is playing. 351 with 4 homers, 13 RBI, and an OPS north of 1,100. Brandon Marsh had been known so far in his career, still young, as like a really good defensive outfielder. But, you know, as he was coming up, Brandon Marsh with the Angels was kind of like, this guy's going to be, this guy can hit, he can do it all. And he really never quite put it all together with the Angels just yet. But again, still super young. Comes over to the Phillies and we see the flashes of it. We see, wow, this guy can hit a little bit. And now this year, he's been their best player. I mean, he's been so good for that team that we came into the year talking about Trey Turner and Nick Castellanos and Kyle Schwarber and JT Realmuto, and imagine how good they're going to be when Bryce Harper comes back. All true.
Yeah.
But Brandon Marsh has been their best player, and he's here at number 4 on my list of BVP.
Love to see it. Number 3, also first time on the list, Jared Kelenic.
This one makes me happy to be able to say, because for a while I have been saying this will be the Jared Kelenic breakout season. I believe in our season previews, going back a long time.
So you've talked about him a lot this year.
Jared Kelenic was my breakout player for the Mariners because I really liked what I saw in spring training from him. It was a different approach. His rhythm, his timing at the plate, everything just looked so much better. And he was doing well in spring training, which wasn't a rarity. We've seen him absolutely dominate the minor leagues. Jared Kelenic is too good for the minor leagues, and we've seen him dominate in spring training. But he was becoming the definition of that 4A player. Now, what I mean by that is there's single, double, triple A, and then there's the big leagues. But Jared Kelenic was that 4A guy where he was too good for triple A, but wasn't yet performing at the major leagues. So he couldn't quite crack that like big league, figured out at the big leagues, but he was way too good for the minors. So that 4A guy essentially is what I'm saying. But this year, 325, 7 homers. If you remember, he had 4 games in a row where he hit a home run, 14 RBIs, an OPS over 1,000. I love what I'm seeing from Jared Kelenic, and if he can be the player, I tweeted this the other day after he hit a home run. Jared Kelenic, the player we were promised.
Yeah.
And that's what we're seeing right now. And I'd be lying to you if I thought, even at the beginning of the year when I said he's going to break out, if I thought he would be on this list right now, shout out to him. It appears he's figured it out, and I'm pumped to see it.
Moving on to your top 2 spots. Now, the man at number 2 held the number 1 spot the last 2 weeks, so he's down 1 spot. Matt Chapman.
Matt Chapman is still on the list, but at number 2, he has slid down 1 spot. 364 on the year with 5 homers, 18 RBIs, and an OPS over 1,100. I mean, it's just dominant, but I will say he's been number 1 on this list because he was hitting like 400 all year long and hitting a home run every day. So is it right to say that he's slowed down? No, not really. That's why I have him as the second best player in baseball so far this year. Hitting 364, absolutely tearing the cover off the ball, and playing great defense over at third base. So that leads to number 1. So I've had Mike Trout, Brandon Marsh, Jared Kelenic, and again on this list, but at number 2, Matt Chapman. Which leaves Alex.
Who's been on this list at number 2 the entire season, finally cracking that number 1 spot, Shohei Ohtani.
He has been number 2 all year long, but he's finally taken the number 1 spot, Shohei Ohtani, who we saw hit a home run last night. He's got 6 homers on the year now, 16 RBI, and then on the mound. I mean, come on. 3-0, a 0.64 ERA, an AL Cy Young frontrunner as we speak. I mean, the reason he's been at number 2 on this list all year long is because of what guys like in the first week or 2 of the year, what Brian Reynolds was doing, what Matt Chapman has been doing all year long. And I've been very vocal about this. For Shohei to not win the MVP award, what is it going to take? It's going to take a 2022 season of Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
It's going to take a 2023 season of somebody like Matt Chapman has been most of the year, hitting 400 and over 30 home runs. Is that realistic to think it happens? Probably not. Now, a season like Judge had last year could sure happen, but are the odds that it will? I don't know. But as of right now, Shohei Ohtani is back in that number 1 spot for hitting at an elite level with 6 home runs, 16 RBIs, and pitching better than most everybody in the game of baseball right now. There has not been somebody that has been more dominant through their first 5 starts of the season. And that includes guys that are equally as good this year, and Garrett Cole, Zach Gallen's really turned it on, but Shohei has been better than him. Shohei is the AL Cy Young frontrunner right now, and probably the best pitcher in the game of baseball right now, on top of being the 2 or 3 batter in that lineup and being a huge staple on their offense and hitting another home run Wednesday and 6 on the year. It's truly remarkable. Shohei Ohtani is the best player in baseball, and it didn't take him long to get back to the list of the top 5 BVPs, which is the top 5 Ben's most valuable players at some point in this year, which I will just be updating all year long and combining the 2 leagues. You want to know who the best player right now is in the game of baseball this season? You don't need to get 2 separate leagues. You can get it all in one here for the BVP. So that does it for this week's. We got Mike Trout, first timer, Brandon Marsh, first time, Jared Kelenic at 3, first time, Matt Chapman at 2, and Shohei Ohtani at number 1. Twitter questions.
Yeah.
We got some Twitter questions.
We're wrapping
to
it
get
up
to
with
today.
some fan questions. Now, we ask you to send us anything you want to know, and we're going to answer them.
Anything, really.
So we got 3. Yeah.
Great. I don't know what they are. You can
ready?
send, technically, it could be non-baseball related.
Yeah,
too.
anything you want. Just ask away.
It could be
one-on-one time.
life advice,
Ooh.
dating advice,
Ooh.
food recommendations,
Oh, I got it all.
or baseball.
Okay. And baseball.
All
Okay,
right,
well, let's start with baseball. This one's from Jordan.
Okay.
He said, Ben, random thought. But for Corbin Carroll's first to third time, how much helps that he's a lefty? Like, if I took the fastest righty, would they actually be equal or super close?
So this is a good question. And to answer it, I'm going to go back to when I was playing pro ball and kind of the talk that takes place about running home to first and what's called a hard 90. When you give your hard 90, what does the time need to be? Now, hard 90 just means it's 90 feet from home to first base. So a hard 90 is your hardest run out of the box down there. Now, the average major league time home to first is a 4.2. Now, righties are a 4.3. Lefties are a 4.1. That's the big league average. Because, to your point, lefties are that much closer to first base. And typically what happens when a lefty swings, right? Think about myself as a righty. When I swing, my momentum is pulling me towards the third base bag. A lefty, when they swing, their momentum and their rotation is pulling them towards first base. So you swing and your momentum is helping you get down the line on top of you already being closer to the bag. So your question of, yes, and what he's referencing, Corbin Carroll the other day hit a ball to dead center field that, by the way, is the furthest hit ball this year that did not go for a home run. I think it was 422 feet, 23 feet. But what resulted is the fastest time from home to third of anybody in the major leagues this season. So yes, being a lefty does absolutely help that. And that is something that we as minor leaguers are. Every coach in the dugout, there's somebody that is given the job of the second contact is made, clicking it and timing a batter from home to first. And then I'll get back in the dugout and be like, what was my time? What'd I do? Did I beat the major league average? Am I slow? Those are all things you want to know. So that is a good question.
Yeah.
Yes, it helps left-handed.
All right.
And yes, Alex, to answer your question, I was faster than major league average.
Way to go.
My fastest home to first time was a 3.97.
Wow.
As a righty, not bad.
Yeah.
Elite at the major leagues is a 3.9. Elite at the major leagues is a 3.9. I didn't have elite major league speed.
I mean, that's close.
Kind of quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right there.
Yeah. Thanks for asking that follow-up, Alex.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks
I'm
for
glad I got the chance.
Thanks for answering that, Ben. Thanks for sharing that knowledge.
All right, what's the next one?
Next one is from Steph.
Okay.
Question is, has Xander Bogaerts been the best free agent signing to date?
Ooh. So Xander's having a great year so far.
Yeah.
I'm going to... This just popped into my head. I could be missing somebody egregious. That's like, Ben, you're an idiot. This guy's hitting .650 with 20 homers, but I doubt I'm missing somebody like that.
Okay.
Xander is having a very good year numbers-wise, but I'm going to give a different answer because of the numbers he's putting up and the team performance so far. I see you, Xander Bogaerts. I raise you, Cody Bellinger.
Ooh.
Batting 300, playing good center field, a bunch of homers already to start the year. The guy's back.
Yeah.
And the Cubs signed him for, I think it was $17 million. So you didn't pay him like the Cody Bellinger that we've seen over the last couple of years, but you didn't not pay him like a guy. You also didn't pay him like a guy hitting 180. And now he's hitting 300, hitting homers, been a big part of that lineup. I know Xander right now, his numbers have been better, right? He's hitting like around 320, I think 5 homers. But it's hard to say that he's been the best pickup when the team can't get going, right? So I think Cody's a fun answer.
And they also kind of got Cody for a steal. So that could be like the best signing because you're getting a lot of bang for your buck.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I can see that.
So I'm going to say Cody Bellinger.
Ooh, I dig that. Okay. You go.
Just thinking off it.
Okay, keep going.
Technically, I guess Aaron Judge was a free agent.
I was going to say that, but he went to the same team.
It doesn't feel...
I keep saying, I've said that to you a couple times. You're like, yeah, but he didn't go to a new team. I'm like,
but that's, you see it happening in my head.
I know, but
like,
first thing I was thinking too.
With the same team.
Yeah.
Still. I'll go Cody Bellinger.
Yeah.
Okay.
One more fan question.
Okay.
From Yotaro, the Rays have been dominant through the start of the season, and they are doing so with a lot of young homegrown talent. What makes the Rays players' development so effective, and can other teams learn from them?
I think this is a very interesting question that nobody really knows the answer to unless you're talking to players on the team. And fortunately, over the last couple of years, I've talked to quite a few of the Rays. Ryan Yarbrough, pitcher, being one of them. Tyler Glasnow, pitcher, being one of them as well. So from everything I've heard and talked to with players on that team, and one of my good friends and former teammates in the Tigers organization, Willie Adames, played there for years, and that's where he got his real start in the big leagues and became an established big leaguer. Everyone says from the second you get there, their analytics department immediately puts you in the best position to succeed. And the argument to that could be, well, isn't every team doing that? And the answer, I would say, is every team is trying to do that, right? No team is out there saying, we're going to get you.
Well, you also have to get like analytic experts. So it takes like
get the right people.
It takes a completely different staff. And is the team willing to invest in that staff to have that department also, along with your coaches on the field who are helping you be a better player, but then also the behind the scenes, understand how you can get there by knowing your analytics mentally.
So the whole analytics movement really kind of started during my time in professional baseball. And I was able to see, and you started hearing things like the Tampa Bay Rays are light years ahead of anybody else analytically. And I don't know what that means. I know I was in the Detroit Tigers organization where we were doing nothing analytically. The Detroit Tigers were in the dark ages when it came to stuff like that. And then you start talking to players, and I have friends in that organization. And what I mean by they just put them in the best position to succeed, you hire the best guys, you hire the smartest guys, and then you bring them in. They're able to look at numbers, and they might not be the biggest baseball guys, right? They might not be able to say, hey, Wander Franco, here's what you're doing with your swing. You need to change that a little bit. Or, hey, Shane McClanahan, here's what you're doing on the mound. Maybe move your fingers a little bit on the ball. You'll get more movement like this. No. They're able to say, hey, this is what you were doing. This pitch plays really well for you, but you only throw it 2% of the time. We want that to be closer to 40% of the time. And that's where you're seeing this big shift with guys, is they're being put in positions to succeed by doing what they do best more often, and they have better people in place to do that and a better system in place because they've been doing it longer than anybody else in the game of baseball. So everybody else is playing the catch-up game to the Tampa Bay Rays, which isn't an easy game to do when the Rays keep going upwards, right?
The other hardest part is when you bring in these analytic guys, you have to have your GM, your manager, your coaching staff, and the players all buy in.
Yep.
It has to be a really comfortable marriage because it's not hard on one side analytics, hard side just what's happening on the field.
Right.
You have to respect what the other person is trying to tell you and marry it together in a cohesive way.
Everyone needs to be pulling from the same end of the rope, if you will. Everybody needs to be working together. And unfortunately, for a while, and I saw this up close and personal
I've seen it too.
in my organization, you had people that were like, analytics is the new wave, and then other people like, no, it's not.
It's field.
Old school baseball.
Yeah.
This is what you need to do. And I could get into the mechanics of hitting.
It doesn't work.
But the Tigers' hitting philosophy, when I was there in the minor leagues, was very, very old school. And I was going to this coach that was very new school, and it's now the new way in baseball, but was continued to tell, swing down on the ball, create backswing, down and backspin. And it's just like, guys, we're in the dark ages here. And then there were these people that analytically were starting to be brought in. But to your point, Alex, everybody needs to be on the same page. And the Tampa Bay Rays, for over a decade now, analytically, have been on the same page. And that's why we see them able to perform so well with a payroll that can't compete with everybody else, or doesn't compete, I would say, with everybody else. But they're just ahead of everybody else. Good question there. Good show, Alex.
Great show.
NFL
Great
draft day today. Our draft was today. That was a lot of fun.
Happy dreams come true day.
We're going to look back. We'll write our draft down, and in 20 years, I'll pull it out of my wallet, and we'll look back, and we'll be like, whose team was better? Thank you all for listening to this Thursday episode of Flippin Bats. This one was a blast. We will be back tomorrow as well on Friday, but for this Thursday episode, that does it. Make sure you like, subscribe anywhere you listen to your podcast. We're also on all social media as well. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and you can watch every single episode on YouTube as well at Flippin Bats Pod for all of them. Thank you all for listening for this Thursday episode of Flippin' Bats. That is all. Until next time.